So what's being called one of the best shoes of 2019 is coming back in 3 more colorways. Let's take a closer look at the Sacai Nike LDWaffle. What's going on, guys? You're watching Sneaker News on YouTube, and today we're taking a closer look at Sacai's next 3 LDWaffles. Before we do that, just do us a quick favor, please. Hit that subscribe button, like the video when you get a chance. We mentioned that the LDWaffle by Sacai is one of the best shoes of 2019. Of course, that's just our opinion. Something interesting that happened at the launch, for a shoe that was so hyped, the resale prices did plummet for a little bit. Talk about that in just a quick moment, but we just want to go over the basic release details. And all 3 will be dropping on September 12th, 2019. You'll find them at select retailers, Nike sneakers. Sacai is dropping them. We'll have a store list for you as well as additional information below, so be sure to check the description if you need to learn more. Let's go back to the shoe, the LDWaffle. It is 2 shoes overlaid one on top of one another. It's the Nike LDV and the Nike Waffle. It's basically the Nike LDV classic running shoe overlaid on the Nike Waffle running shoe. Basically 2 shoes in one. And just a quick note about what the shoes feel like. Quite honestly, we would suggest that you do not go running or do anything athletic in these because the sole is so thick that it's almost like a platform shoe, and the upper has almost no lockdown whatsoever. It's just basically this thin mesh, and of course you have like the heel and the toe box. So there's really no stability unless you tie your shoes real tight, but in general, I mean, if you want to work out on these, go ahead, but we suggest these are specifically for casual use, casual walking and whatnot. And after the shoes first revealed itself in Paris Fashion Week in 2018, these were definitely one of the most hyped shoes of the year. Leading up to the drop in May, the resale prices were like almost $1,000, and that pretty much solidified these as one of the most hyped shoes of the year, one of the most coveted. But when the shoes dropped, they were available for not that much above retail. I mean, it was still above retail, almost double, but it was still a lot less than what people had thought. But now the resale prices are going back up. They're probably available from the $600 to $800 range. And now that we add 3 more colorways to the mix, it's probably gonna sort of even out a little bit depending on what colorway you like. So first we're gonna start with the loudest one right here. So first up is definitely the most colorful of the 3. This is the Pine Green Clay Orange Del Sol colorway. We do want to point out this is a men's size 15, so it does look bigger than normal, but it should be fine. This colorway is more akin to the first 2 drops only because it has 3 distinct colors. Of course, you have this nice magenta sort of suede overlaid on the green, and then you have the orange and the bright yellow on the double swoosh, yellow again on the heel tab, on the interior lining. One of our favorite details about this shoe is this double tongue. The front has the classic Nike sportswear logo with the Nike Sacai co-branded tongue label. But the midsole is pretty consistent through all 5 releases. It's that solid white midsole with this extended piece, which lips out pretty extensively on the heel. I'm sure you guys have seen those Instagram viral videos of kids cutting off the heel. And the outsole is the black rubber waffle sole. And we do again have to point out that this was kind of invented in the 70s, so it does feel kind of weird when you walk on them. It's not as stable as contemporary models, but that's to be expected. If you do own a pair and you take like an on-foot shot, you'll notice that like the waffle little rivets sort of dig into the midsole, so it creates this funky, like weird bacony sort of ripple effect. But again, that's just due to the nature of the construction. It's quite a flimsy shoe. It's super thin. Only thing that's protecting your foot from the outside is this really thin mesh layer. If you've worn these to a bar or a club, you have most likely gotten your feet a little wet from spilling beer or drinks or whatnot. But yeah, like we said, this is the most colorful of the 3. It's something more along the lines of the first 2 that dropped back in May. And of course, there's 2 other colorways that are also dropping that are a bit more of a grayscale tone, which we'll show you right now. So next up is the black anthracite and white colorway. Again, this is much more simpler. You have black suede, anthracite gray, and the mudguard, and as well as the mesh black and white 2-tone swoosh. That gray again appears on the collar as well as the interior lining. Definitely a little more subdued. Will probably blend in a little bit more compared to the more colorful colorways. And again, this is a men's size 15, which is why it looks so massive. But Sacai has not been shy in terms of using colors, but this seems to be more to their effect. They like cleaner, more sleeker hues, and it's more like letting the design of the shoe speak for itself, the whole double layered concept. Much like the first 2 releases, you can see that they decided to go for 2 different shoelace options, the previous ones. And because this is a black and white color, we encourage you to wear some very colorful socks with these. It'll definitely kind of punch up the look a little bit. But you know, they're pretty simple. You know, this is the black colorway that is easier to wear compared to the others, but there is that light gray pair that might be a little more digestible. So this is the third of 3 colorways confirmed to drop on September 12th. This is the Summit White Wolf Gray colorway. Again, lets the concept of the design do the talking. It doesn't really rely on these super vibrant colors. I think this is the best of the 3 that are dropping on the 12th. You have that two-tone Summit White and a darker gray hue, almost like a cool gray, with a Summit White mesh. The only place where classic white really shows up is on the swoosh. And again, if you do own these shoes, you know that the stitching on the swooshes above the mesh, it can get a little funky. So that's why the stitching doesn't look entirely clean. That was probably one of the bigger complaints about the LDV. We have seen some LDWaffles that are dropping in 2020 that don't have a mesh base, so the stitching might be a little bit cleaner and a little more consistent on those pairs, but this appears to be the final 3 launches of 2019 in terms of the LDWaffle. We do know there are more Blazers coming, and Sacai is growing to be one of Nike's more important partners in terms of collaborations. I mean, this isn't the first time they've done a Nike collab. They've done Dunks and Air Max 90s in the past, but people just sort of overlook them. But we've seen the value of those kind of increase a little bit just based off the strength of how these did. But, you know, again, going back to the resale prices, you know, we noted that on the day of the drop, the first 2 pairs sort of plummeted in price and now they're creeping back up. We can only assume that once these drop, it'll sort of even out the resale prices. These will probably be available for a little bit cheaper, but would not sleep on them if you find them at a good price. So there you have it. This is a Nike LDWaffle by Sacai. All 3 pairs are dropping on September the 12th, 2019. Let us know in the comments which of the 3 you like the most, which you like the least. Make sure you like this video, hit subscribe if you haven't yet, and we'll catch you in the next video.